welcome to Phil Fails. My name is Philip Jones, and today I have a returning guest, Father Bill W. Wave to everybody, Father. We're going to talk about two-way prayer. Father Bill W. has a book coming out called Two-Way Prayer, AA's Lost 11th Step. He's working on it now, and I'm really excited to learn more about the practice. Our original interview was Phil Fails at Finding His Voice. Let's dive deep into the two-way prayer.
I'm ready.
How do you think, how would you, if someone came to you and said, I want you to teach me two-way prayer, I want to be indoctrinated into this practice, I'm here. I'm clay for you to mold now.
Okay. See, and this is where in working with alcoholics and addicts, it is somewhat easier. It's somewhat easier because this kind of flows into their 12-step history, and they've kind of been indoctrinated in that. And so this is known as the 11th step, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood God, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. So you're already set up for that.
So folks that have a contemplative practice or some kind of desire or longing or need to invite in meditation and contemplation is helpful.
It's necessary. It's necessary. Otherwise, this becomes kind of a parlor game. And it's not intended to be a parlor game. It's intended, I think, to access a source of help.
Yeah.
So
I think I fall into that. I've done John Kabat-Zinn's mindfulness-based stress reduction program, which is it's a meditation.
mhm.
I also have recently gone back to contemplative practice communities like Austin Zen Center
Right.
and Mariposa Sangha here in Austin, and have been meditating again,
Yeah,
which is
good.
something I did before COVID, but I lost the practice somewhere in that whole kerfuffle.
Right. And typically now in many meditative practices, the goal might be stillness, silence,
Mm-hmm.
non-thought. Okay. In this practice, that is not the goal. The goal is to listen to a source within and see what words come up, what sentences come up. And as you become more comfortable with it, and it's like when I started off, it was a word, it was scratchy here, a little bit there. Then I kind of felt, well, I think this voice can actually speak in sentences. Why not let it flow?
It actually matured, it sounds
It
like.
did. Yeah, God came a long way, It's just a little tutelage is all he needed. And then I would read some things of people who had done some of the writing, who practiced two-way prayer, their writings. Well, they were sentences. So I allowed it. I allowed it to speak to me as in a conversation.
Yeah.
The difference is, and I've kind of come up on this myself, is it's not a two-way back and forth conversation. Make it an expression of need, and then listen. You don't keep going back and forth. And I did a fair amount of study of psychology and such. And the reason for that, the thing that makes sense is the ego needs to be a step down. This is not a equal. It's I'm coming because I have a need. Speak to me. And the voice that's speaking already knows your needs, already knows what's going on. Sometimes the voice will take you to another place that you never even asked about.
Yeah.
All right? So it's not, this in, that out, this in, that out, back and forth. It's an openness to a presence that resides deep inside of us, all right, that wants us to become who we are meant to be.
Yeah.
The image I like, I forget where it came from, but it was like it's like if you take the image of the acorn and the oak tree, you know, uh, I'm meant to be an oak tree, but I'm stuck, frightened, uh, uh, reluctant to let go of my acornness. And yet it's only if I let go of my acornness that which is within can
Flourish or blossom
flourish,
or yeah.
become who you're meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that process is going on in everybody. And how do you get in touch with that?
How do you
Well,
get out of your own way? But then
exactly.
by you, I mean the ego.
Right. That's right. Oh, I got it.
And the words that came to mind were like, how do you humble yourself, or how do you
Humility
humility?
is so important in this.
Did you bring? I think you mentioned bringing some examples.
Yeah.
I wonder if this would be a good time to kind of
I think it'd be a really good time.
to look at examples of two-way
Yeah,
prayers from other folks.
I did during COVID. I was doing a lot of workshops. At least one a month, and I'd have 200 or 300 people who would show up at these things. Close to 500 once. And I collected some of these. I taught them how to do the practice, and I got really tired of doing that because it's like over and over the same set of instructions, pretty much. But I never tired of hearing the voice, never tired of watching the light go on in their eyes, all right, when they connected at whatever level they were able to do so. And people have different levels, I mean, some people, what the voice is very poetic. Others, it's just very kind of down and dirty. You never know, but it has to meet the criteria
Yep.
of being honest, pure, unselfish, and most of all, loving. Is this a loving voice?
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're sitting in the presence of absolute love. If absolute love were to speak to me, what would it say?
That's a
Use
perfect
your
segue.
imagination.
Perfect segue to what did it say?
This is I was actually doing testing because I did a couple of published papers on this. So I went to 4 or 5 treatment centers here in Austin, and taught the clients how to do it. This is a young woman in treatment. She's 2 weeks into alcohol and drug withdrawal, all right? But it was her 3rd time in the same place. So I said, well, now what's your question? What's your need? God, why can't I stay sober? The voice, my child. I always tell people, start with a term of endearment. Always begin with a term of endearment. My beautiful boy, my darling daughter, my lost child, my beloved. Start with that. Why? Because it kind of melts you. And the ego needs melting. So she followed through on that. Why can't I stay sober? My child, you can. I know you can. Trust me. You're not hopeless. The drugs are killing you. You need to change the places you go, the people you hang around, yourself, the destructive behavior. Take time. Love yourself as I do. Love yourself first and foremost. There is light. Trust us. That was it. Her first time. Her first time. Now, what did that do to her? It gave her hope. It said to her that, there is access to sanity.
Inside of herself.
Inside of herself.
She knows. Or
No,
she has attunement to knowing.
She has a attunement. Say that another way?
Attunement to.
Yeah, but she doesn't know that. She hadn't heard that voice
She's
before.
like dialing in that.
Yes.
That radio to.
That's right.
This loving, honest, unselfish, pure desire for her or pathway for her.
Now go back to what you said earlier. How do I have access to this? Humility. If
Humility.
I bring that, think of that as the dial, connector. If I'm coming in with arrogance and okay, I'll play a little game. Okay, God, if you're really God,
Yeah. Right.
show me something.
Yeah.
Give me a voice. Wow, come on.
Yeah.
You
You're in the
have,
way. That's signal noise.
yeah. Yeah, and and people will say, I'm not getting anything. Well, what are you bringing? What's your question? What's your need? You know? And then it's use of the imagination. All right? Don't be afraid of that. Well, am I just imagining this? Yes, you are. You could say that to an artist, couldn't you? Hey, you're just imagining that, Picasso? Yeah, yes, I am.
Yeah.
But I'm allowing imagination to come to fruition.
Yeah.
I'm allowing it to come through me. See? And there it is. And you look back at what you wrote, and it might not be everything that jumps out, but maybe it's one line: don't belittle yourself.
Yeah.
I never used the word belittle in my life. And there it is. Some kind of
Pops out at
pops
you.
out. Yeah, yeah. Another woman in her 50s, eating disorder, okay? In the program, recovery for a long, long time, still struggling. She writes this: Heavenly Father, I've been struggling with self-loathing. I look in the mirror and I hate who I see. I feel so unattractive and at my core, unlovable. Please help me, Father. It's a stranger in front of 300 people sharing this stuff.
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable. And well, I only do my own feeling. My God, she's asking the question that I don't like to even acknowledge.
Yeah.
But the self-hatred stuff runs through many of us.
I have it.
You got it. Yeah. The voice, my precious child. It saddens me to see you hurting so. You are loved. More than you could ever know. I've watched you go through losses these last few years, especially the loss of your grandson. My sweet daughter, come to me. I am real and I am safe. Nourish your body. Don't starve it. Speak only love to yourself. Treat others as you wish they would treat you. Do these things, and the light of my deep and endless love will fill you up, shine through you to others. Go now, I'm with you. Where's that leave you? I mean, I'll tell you what leaves me is a frightened little ego, a self filled with self-hatred, has now come into the presence of absolute love, absolute sanity, and felt healing of my soul. All right? And that's what we're looking for. And again, I work with addicts. We're looking for the booze, for the sex, for the drugs. We're looking for an experience of this. You know?
Folks I think everyone can share authentically or vulnerably experiences of insecurity,
Yeah.
experiences of feeling like they're not good enough or not
Right.
worthy, insecurity,
Right.
feeling like they don't trust the world around them, that they're scared.
Right. So going back to your question, it's can you go to that place first of your insecurity, of your honest need? Get to that place. Be vulnerable with it.
Yeah.
And then ask for help. And then a couple of deep breaths, sit back, and using your imagination. You got to get over that. This is not, oh, I'm listening so hard. Using your imagination. That's why I tell people, start with that term of endearment. It kind of greases the skids. It gets the voice rolling. You know, my precious, my beloved. You've already had 3 or 4 words come out. Now let them roll.
Yeah.
Don't think. Do not think. Don't think, oh, I got to get a holy thought. No, no, no. No, you're in the presence of love. What would love say to you? What would it say? All right? And let it roll. Let it roll. Tough one. Tough one.
Yeah.
Third one. All right. Young man. 2 kids. Wife commits suicide. Wife commits suicide. And the kids witness it. And he's devastated. He's devastated. God, I don't understand why I have to go through so much pain. Seems everyone I love leaves or dies. 300 people.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's just like, please, don't go so deep, guys. but people are hurting at deep levels.
They want to do that. They're
want-
brave. They're
brave.
courageous. They want to do that work.
What I say in my book is, I'm all for the 4 absolutes: honesty, purity, unselfishness, and love. You need one more: courage.
Courage.
It's got to have courage. My son, I've always walked beside you. Like those 2 sets of footprints in the sand, I've kept you alive for a reason. You've suffered for a reason. Just like many before you, you've suffered. So your hearts are filled with compassion, and you become close to those in pain, the hopeless. I love you, son. I always have and always will. When you have flashbacks, I'll cast a light between you and what you witnessed. Instead, you will see me. You're so much stronger than you think. Don't keep asking why. Language of the heart, not the head. I've always been with you, but this time you feel me present. It's time for us to go to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
What are you feeling?
Sadness.
Yeah.
I think through this, I think about the possibility of doing this with you today, and these questions flood in, almost demanding my attention away from the present moment. I'm here with you, and my
Right.
attention's here on you, and in the background, just with the awareness that we might do this or we will do this.
Mm-hmm.
These questions start flooding in. All these
needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These not understanding why
Right.
I have
It's
the
the human
challenges that I have.
condition.
Yeah.
It's the human condition, Phil.
Yeah.
And can the human condition meet the divine condition? Because we got questions.
Questions.
Why this suffering?
Yeah.
Why this pain? Why this confusion?
Yeah.
Help me. And then what do you hear? You hear suffering with. The voice is, it's rarely, well, one thing, I've never been yelled at in my 32 years of doing this. It's always been met with compassion and understanding, and even my repetition, because I fail a lot. I fail daily to follow the guidance of the voice, to live it out in reality.
Yeah.
I had an old friend who used to say, I fill up and then I leak. Well, you fill up in the morning with this. And that's why I think it's really helpful that it is a morning practice. And you feel connected. It's the best 5 minutes of your day. All right? And then you go out there into the world and you screw it up.
It's filling your cup.
It's filling your cup and leaking. It's filling a leaky cup. And so you got to come back every day and you got to fill it up again.
It's
And
like drinking water or breathing air.
yeah,
It's a practice it's a continuous, never-ending practice
right.
because these shadows don't go away.
That's right. See, there are other voices in our head. You know, the one that I got in touch with real early in my recovery was the inner critic.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a voice in my head that says terrible things to me about me. I had a therapist say to me, "Hey, Bill," sitting there in therapy with a group. He says, "Hey, Bill, if somebody said to you the things you say to you about yourself, what would you do to them?" He said, "I'd kill them."
Yeah.
I mean, without a second thought, I'd kill them. That was my instinctual response. I would kill him. Because I'm in there for alcohol and drug treatment. The guy said, "Well, good morning. What you been doing? What you been doing?"
Something about
Killing myself.
killing yourself.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what we
Awareness
do.
of the part of this is awareness of that critic and then making a choice.
Which voice am I going to listen to?
Which voice am I going to listen to? In dialectical behavioral therapy, they have this one tool that they say when you're in an emotional crisis, when you're in overwhelm,
Right.
what would your best friend say to you?
Well, there you are. There you are.
Yeah.
This is finding your best friend, your inner friend.
Yeah.
I don't care what name you call it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Just being on your side, getting on your side.
And loving. It is love.
And love, honest love, unselfish, pure.
Yeah, that's it. Now I'm going to try to live by those standards. Live by those standards. And this is where the 12-step program came from. And so those standards are interspersed in the various steps. And the 12th step is having had originally an experience, an encounter with the divine as a result of these steps. And much of that, Phil, is removing the obstacles, the barriers to that voice. See, this is where the egotism comes into play. Because it's got a hold on us.
Yeah.
We ain't naturally humble. We're very proud. And we inflate. Now Jung says you can't help but inflate. You can't help but inflate. And by inflate, he meant take on divine quality, divine proportions, be a better way.
I am God.
I am God. Now, I don't say that out loud, or you go to the state hospital, not in Texas, because we've gotten rid of all of our hospitals. But if you were in a decent state,
Yeah.
perhaps there'd be a hospital you could go to.
Do better, Texas.
Do better.
I'm just kidding.
No.
But yeah,
seriously,
really do better.
Start listening to God.
Yeah.
Not, well, we won't go there. We won't go there.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would this be a good time to do a couple of practices?
You want to
together?
try it?
I would like to.
Okay.
I mean, and I'm also terrified of
Okay.
trying it.
We'll go easy.
Can I be? Oh yeah, you've got some guides for folks. People are going to watch this, and if they want to do it in their own life, there's a couple ways. Number one, they could wait for your book to come out, which hopefully it'll be out.
Oh, God knows.
God knows. Ask your inner voice about that, or
Right.
Bill's going to
Yeah.
ask his inner voice about that.
That's right.
But immediately there's a guide on your website, which is
Two-way prayer, TWO, two-way prayer. Just go to two-way prayer.
.com.
Just go to two-way prayer.
Two-way prayer. And on two-way prayer, on his website, there is a guide.
Go to resources. Well, two things. One, there's a video.
Okay.
Okay. So right on the homepage, there's a 41-minute video.
Mm-hmm.
Gives you the history, works you through the process. There's a set of handouts. You can download all of that.
Watch the video.
Watch the video.
If you're more of a reader, you got also a written guide.
There's a written guide that's there. There's some backup material. that's there. There's kind of an original pamphlet, how they used to do it back in the 1930s
Yeah.
and such. And there's some studies that were published on the effectiveness of it. So
What
try
we're
to,
going to do here, you can all do in your life right after you watch this. You can go to two-way prayer, watch the video, read the handouts, and you can immediately bring this into your life.
yeah, you
Yeah.
really can.
Yeah.
You really can,
Okay.
especially if you're in need.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I imagine we're all in need
We're all in need. Yeah.
in
And
some
it's
way.
free.
Yeah.
It's free.
It's free.
We ain't going to say, and Martha, send your $10 in. None of that crap.
Yeah.
You know, this is free. And it's available to everybody.
Yeah.
And I see, that's my thing. People don't have access to a therapist. They don't have access to somebody who's going to listen. You know, so you got to kind of do it yourself in many ways. And if people can just have 10 minutes of sanity each morning, their lives are going to get better.
Yeah.
You know,
Be
And
your
it-
best friend for 10 minutes every morning.
Yeah.
Or be God,
yeah.
or find God inside of
Right.
yourself for 10
Right.
minutes every morning.
Yeah. So let me run through the
Okay.
instructions real quickly. Maybe a little bit more than you're going to have to do here, but first is commit to doing the practice. You know, you just said you gotten back to doing meditation and stuff like that. You got to stay with it. You know, so commit to doing it for 30 days.
30 days. And this is every morning for 30 days.
Every morning for 30 days. Give it 10 to 20 minutes if you can. All right? Because 10 to 20 minutes consistently is a hell of a lot better than, well, I'll give it an hour and a half on Saturday. Make up for the week.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
there's a flow to this thing.
Yeah.
Try to choose a sacred space. I think we talked about that. If you got a chair, try to reserve that for this practice. If not, throw a blanket on it that makes it kind of sacred. Get a notebook like you've got in your hand. That's all you need. Nothing fancy. And have it ready when you begin. Sit comfortably as you're doing right now. All right. Upright posture. If you do meditation, everybody's going to tell you that there are, you're not going to slouch. Slouching is not good. You're gonna want to sit up and be attentive and be erect, straight, with your back aligned, and then kind of remember into whose presence you're coming. However, you may want to do that. I'm going to connect with the best part of me. I'm going to come into God's presence. All right. I light candles. Things to make this time sacred. Reading is a part of it. What do you read? Well, what's sacred to you? What are some books, some authors who really speak to you? Maybe poetry. It may be scripture. It may be one of the mystics. All right, not long. This is. It's not you're going to read for an hour or anything. Like that. No, just try to read until it strikes you. Something strikes you, and then let it go. Let it go. All right, all right. There are some things that they read, like Sermon on the Mount, 1 Corinthians 13, the love chapter gets read at most weddings. Love is patient, kind. All that good stuff. So something like that. And take a couple of deep breaths. All right. Just a couple. And if you've done breathing exercises, you're probably more advanced than I am. Use them. That's good. That's good. Then write a question. And when I revise this, it'll probably say express a need. That's what I mean by write a question. Express a need. A very honest question that captures your real need. Have a problem that's troubling you. You really need guidance, all right? Then I got some examples on the thing, tried getting sober before was one we heard that. Here's another one. Heavenly Father, I feel so alone, separated, separated from you, from others. Help me feel your presence. Third, Father, Mother God. Try a different name for God, Mother God. I'm withdrawing. I'm isolating again, moving further away from my spouse, from my children. Help me. Teach me. What do I need to do? Lord Jesus, Holy Spirit, I need your guidance today because, boom, I'm going to see my probation officer. I'm scared to death. That's real. That's real.
Yeah.
All right? That's what you want to bring. Okay? And then the term of endearment, my beloved, my child. And then you listen for God's voice. If the connection isn't immediate or words don't come into your mind, use your active imagination, especially when you're first making contact. Say to yourself, in your mind, you don't have to say it out loud, if God were to speak, if love were to speak to me, this is what I'd hear. And then using your imagination, start to write. All right? And write for about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Try not to stop. Don't stop and think. Just let it flow. Let it flow. You're getting into the character of God. All right? The character of love, the character of truth. And that is who's speaking. It ain't you. So in your writing, the voice is speaking to you. To you. All right? And you're just going to write. And you're going to do it for about, we'll go for about 3 or 4 minutes here. Okay?
Okay.
Let it roll. And it will kind of come to a natural conclusion. It'll stop. You don't interrupt. You don't inject other questions or thoughts. You just let it flow.
Mm-hmm.
All right? You want to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could think of a reading too.
Okay.
Can I read something?
Sure. Yeah.
I have a book. This book is a Thich Nhat Hanh book.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Thich Nhat Hanh?
Yes, of course.
Love Thich Nhat Hanh. And this book is called How to Love.
Beautiful.
And I thought maybe I would just flip through here and just land on one and we would read it.
But a caution, you're not going to, your writing is not going to be a commentary on that.
It's not.
No.
This is just to kind of prime the pump.
Exactly. But then you're going to write your question, your need. See? You're going to look at yourself. Where am I falling short of love? Where do I need help with love?
Yeah.
See? That's your question. And don't use his stuff.
Right.
Use yours. Okay.
I landed on an excerpt or a writing called Pride.
Pride. Wonderful.
Which I thought was kind of appropriate.
Very much so.
It says, often our pride stands in the way of our asking for help. In true love, there's no place for pride. To love each other means to love each other. Oh, to love each other means to trust each other. If you don't tell the person you love of your suffering, it means you don't love this person enough to trust her. You have to realize that this person is the best person to help you. We need to be able to get help from the person we love.
Yeah. So now go to a place of suffering in yourself, in your own life. And in one sentence or so, express the need and then ask for help. Then do your breathing, your term of endearment, and then start to write.
Okay.
You're off and running. That's perfect. Are you done?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right, how was it? Before you read,
Yeah.
Any stuck points or difficulties that you had in getting going? Or
Some like, how do I come up with that term of endearment or
oh, okay,
that
yeah,
who do I choose, universe or
right,
spirit or
yes,
God, or
okay.
it's like I felt like it mattered in some
Whoever
way.
you are
Yeah.
is a way around that. You know, whoever's listening out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is not for you. It's for those who are listening. That
It could be inner wisdom. You could say inner
inner
wisdom.
wisdom, and don't worry about it. It will probably change
Yeah.
over time. Who you're listening to will change.
Yeah.
The names will change. It's all right. It's
Just
all right.
you're helping me and those that are listening to remove some of the resistance or some of the
Yes, the ego
stuckness.
wants it to be just right, has to be perfect.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah, and see, it wants to be in control, is
yeah.
really what you're experiencing there. So good. Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah,
flow.
yeah.
Um,
So
yeah,
go
that
ahead.
was
What'd you
it.
get? What'd you
I
get? So you got something.
so I wrote Spirit, I'm struggling to parent and develop loving connection with my daughters.
Of course.
Yeah.
Good one. Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the nature of that comes from this idea that I had a hard childhood
Right.
and the tools that I had to parent for a long time were just archaic
Mm-hmm.
or barbaric, maybe even. I think that that might be too harsh, but it might not.
Right.
And I guess I feel sometimes like my behavior and my actions of the past have put me in a prison with regard to my ability to connect with them and to
Right.
develop intimacy
Right.
and trust.
And I think this is the kind of work that's designed to get at those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start to feel it. When all of that came up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm letting go of the control world that I know and operate in, and I'm moving into a place of vulnerability. You know, and you're going to go cautiously. You know, as you stay with it, as you see you're not going to get hurt, it becomes safer to go back to it, and then the times may expand. And you're creating a space in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, whatever, wherever the hell this thing may be, that is growing. And it's growing in what? In love, in honesty, in compassion, and in all of the emotions, the positive spiritual emotions that we want to be filled with.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Go ahead. So
I started with Precious Kiddo.
yeah, no, it's good. That's good. If your higher power didn't have a sense of humor, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, Precious Kiddo,
Precious kiddo. Yeah.
you've done the best you could.
Yeah.
You learn, you grow. The tools and skills that you have today are so much more effective and helpful than those modeled to you when you were young.
Right.
Love yourself, love your kids,
Right.
be present and listen to them. Let them guide you.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. How does that feel?
It feels good, and it's like I'm scared of it in some ways.
Okay.
Like, I think my ego always tells me that someone else is influencing my kids or something else is going on there,
So
that
that's a fear.
reasons not to listen to them, reasons not to let them guide me, is this idea that, oh, they're being persuaded by outside forces or something.
Which becomes your question for tomorrow.
Yeah.
See? This when I go now the next day, you see, I will begin. I forgot to mention this, well, because it wasn't time. But when I go to my session tomorrow, I will read what I wrote the day before.
Mm.
If there was specific guidance to do something, did I do it? Well, that can be very interesting. I basically blew it off, or one thing led to another. So this thing that I opened with my daughter leads me to deeper fears that I'm now aware of that I want to take to prayer. See? And that becomes your question for tomorrow. See?
Which makes it really important that this is when you said this is a committed practice that you do every morning,
Right.
because one kind of, it builds on itself.
That's right. It does. It does. There is a flow. There is a flow. It's like doing dream work. What the analyst will tell you is there's a flow to the dreams. There's a series of dreams quite often. It isn't just this one, that one. No, if you can capture them on a daily basis, you're going to start to see the patterns, and that's what you want to get to see. So, distrust is coming up. Wanting to be a good parent is coming up. Reflections on what I was given when I grew up.
Yeah.
All of that needs to be explored over time.
Yeah. It's not a one-off.
No.
Because the breadcrumbs, the path is revealed through the patterns that you see
Yes.
day and day and day.
That's right. That's right. And you're going to change as a result of this encounter with the divine, all right? The divine within.
Yeah.
You're going to change. You're going to become more loving. You're going to become more trusting. See?
Yeah.
That's
And
the
so
purpose of a spiritual practice.
And so then you part of being a human is creating the world every day. The sun comes up, but you come up, and in that you create this whole world. And if the world inside is more loving and compassionate and trusting, you'll bend that world. That creation will come to start being endowed or imbued with trusting, loving, compassionate.
That's right.
And if you live in a world that's trusting, loving, and compassionate, and you are those things, there's more of that in the world.
Yeah. God knows we need it. And God is asking something of you to do about it. Follow me?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your role in this? Oh, nothing I can do about the world. Oh, yes, there is. All you can do about the world is to change your world. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
And if enough people do it, we get a decent world.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to think this practice is for people with, monkey mind, ADD. You don't have to go to the silence. Just listen. Listen for love. Listen for love. Does it lead to periods of silence? Often it does. Often at the end of a session like this where you've done the writing, you may want to sit there in silence and breathe and take it in, because there's a place for not words too.
Yeah.
But addicts we can't seem to turn our minds off. They're constantly firing. Yeah. So this practice allows you to fire away, and gradually you may work towards the other. But it's Eastern has taken over the dominant role in approaching meditation. There is a Western practice too of meditation, which is to think deeply about a subject.
Contemplation.
Yeah. And I was trained I was studying to be a Jesuit priest in another life, in an earlier life. I was still into my alcoholism at that time. But we did as part of our training was a 30-day retreat. They call it a long retreat. Silence for 30 days. 5 periods of meditation, hour-long meditation each day, and use your imagination in the prayer. Imagine that you're at this place. If it was Christmas time, imagine you're in the stable. Smell the animals. Allow that, imagination to go to work. That enriches your spiritual religious life. Unfortunately, we've kind of cut it down to, I believe this and I believe that, and you better believe this, and if you don't believe that, and it's just destroying it. It's destroying it. So this is and this is what I see. I mean, with that's what it did to me. I had 20 years. I'm sober. I'm trying all that good stuff, but the juice was not flowing. This gets you to the juice.
Yeah. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this for 30 days, and then we'll have you back on and talk about it if you're
Okay.
open to it.
Sure.
I know you got some stuff going on in your life, so you'll be
Yeah.
out of pocket for a little bit, but
Actually, I'll be in Austin, so yeah,
yeah,
we
we'll
can do it.
I'll commit to doing this for 30 days.
Cool. That's what I ask people to do.
I'll get a
Commit-
journal that'll be
commit
my
to it.
committed to a prayer journal.
Yeah.
And I'll find a place around the house.
Right. That place is pretty good.
Yeah, I could do it right here. We're coming to a place where we'll start to land this plane.
Okay.
I'm wondering if there's anything you want to say in conclusion.
No, just that I know it sounds strange, but I don't go for a week without getting several people writing me emails saying, this thing changed my life, turned me around, brought my program back into a living state.
Yeah.
And that's what this thing's about. So what has been really clear to me in doing this as long as I have, you'll see themes. One of the themes is what are you here to do? What is your work? What is your purpose? You see? A lot of young people struggle with it. What is my purpose? Is it make money? Is it just, what is it? Well, I got real clear. My purpose is to make two-way prayer better known.
Yeah.
To people, particularly in 12-step fellowships, but we go beyond that. And to have people take a different look, a deeper look at the four standards: honesty, purity, unselfishness, and love. I went to Switzerland a couple of times. The Oxford group, which kind of started this thing, they still exist. They became kind of a peace program, an international peace program, and they bring people together from all around the world. I went many years ago with a group of Muslims. It was like half Christian, half Muslim. And we spent about 8 or 10 days together in Switzerland at a hotel that the people of Switzerland had given to the Oxford group after World War II as a place for peace, a place where people who are warring can come together and understand one another by practicing honesty, purity, unselfishness, and love, by listening to God, by sharing deeply with one another, by becoming vulnerable. So my instructions, when you see it over and over and over again, you know that that's your purpose in life. This is my purpose in life.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have something to do.
Yeah. So this is Phil Phails. My name is Philip Jones. My guest today is still Father Bill W.
And Bill Phails.
And Bill Phails. And today we've been learning about two-way prayer. You guys should go learn about two-way prayer with more depth. Take your time on the website, Two-Way Prayer. And there's a video, a detailed video, 41 minutes or so. There's some written material there. Commit to 30 days of searching inside yourself, finding your voice, finding the attunement towards purity, love, honesty, and unselfishness.
That's right.
Let that fill your cup in the morning, and so that you can leak that out throughout the day.
We'll follow one another's trails as we go.
Yeah. So thank you so much,
My
Father
pleasure.
Bill W.
Thank you for what you're doing.
This is a really wonderful addition to our initial interview, and
Yeah.
I look forward to continuing this discussion with you as I continue this discussion with myself.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Can I have a hug?
Absolutely. You stand?
Yeah, we
should Okay.
stand. That's okay. Thank you.